What's going on? What's going on? I'm gonna share this screen and get things started. All right, we're gonna share and then we're gonna pull up good old NVDA. All right, so this is a very messy looking chart, but this is what I use today to make 100% on some put options. All right, so we're gonna give maybe about 60 seconds for people to come on through to the live. And we're gonna switch up the chart to make it a little bit more friendly. All right, so I have a new chart that I set up called blank, right? And this is gonna give you a nice clean look at NVIDIA. All right, so I'm gonna make sure people are asking questions in the chat, and I'm gonna be checking that as we continue this live. All right, so good old NVIDIA was pretty much one of the most popular stocks today in the market because it dropped from it was at 149 on Friday and it was as low as 116 today on Monday. All right, so we're going to be talking all about this drop and what we could expect next. All right, so if you guys got any questions, just drop it in the chat. You guys got me for the next 15 minutes at least, right? Because we're going to talk about NVIDIA and then we're going to switch on over to the SPY. And what else we got? I think there's something else I want to explain. FOMC on Wednesday. All right, so today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday, Wednesday is FOMC, which is a fancy word for a potential huge move in the market. All right, so if you guys know me, I'm not really a news guy, right? I'm more just technicals because I feel like the technicals is it's gonna pretty much show you the move before the news really comes out, and I have proof to show you that. All right, and we're gonna talk about that today. So I'm gonna just make sure that we got a couple people in the live before we start. My brother Dame is in the building. Day one Dame just signed back up, right? So we got some fresh energy. We got the OG in the building. All right, NVIDIA. So we're gonna hop straight into it. All right, so this is the 4-hour, right? You can see a huge drop, and we're gonna switch to the 15-minute, which is where I spend most of my time. Right, so I woke up in the morning, not really understanding what happened. Everyone's like, "Yo, the market dropped, crazy something's happening," and I'm like, well, the market's on its bullshit again, right? It's always something going on where you could just expect it at some point, right? If things are going well for too long, just know that the BS is coming, right? So when I woke up, pretty much everything is red. I did see Apple was one stock that was moving up today, right? So that kind of made things a little bit tricky. You can see Apple in the bottom left and see how huge this move was, right? Huge move to the upside, while a lot of other stocks like NVIDIA was coming down. So that's what made today a very tricky day, because where is the overall market moving? Are we moving up or are we moving down? All right. So to get straight into my trade, right, I'm going to find the line that I use. It's an orange line, and I just had it, right? This orange line, notice most of my lines are blue, and that's just, regular lines that I would draw. But whenever I see something that is very strong, I'll change the colors to make sure that I don't miss it, right? So I'm gonna zoom out to the daily chart, and I'm gonna show you why I was able to see that this was a very strong level. So that was the daily. Now this is the weekly. The weekly, you can't really see where I got that orange line from. So I'm gonna go right back to the daily and I'm gonna zoom in. All right. So if we just go back, we could see this is back in July, August, and we pushed up and we pretty much made a drop. Now within this drop, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more, and this was a support level, right? It just seemed like a random candle, but I noticed that this is a day we had a lot of volume, and this was just a very strong level that we used to push the price up, right? With all this volume. So that's like a little bit of advanced technique to understand which levels are stronger than others. And I believe that's the first reason why I drew the line. So as I'm going to the right, I noticed that the price was using this line sometimes as support. It tried as resistance. I don't think you could see it on the daily chart, but on the lower time frames, it might have tested it. And then here you can see it held as support. So pretty much the price is using this area as something that to pretty much play around, and they're not making it easy, but it's showing you clues along the way. All right. Now if we keep on going, we're gonna zoom out just a little bit. We pretty much never really came back to that level, but I understood that this was a strong level. So this was today, right? Notice before today, the market didn't come anywhere close to this level. And that's why I like to keep all of these crazy lines on my chart, because you just never know when the market is gonna use these previous levels that you drew, right? So if I zoom out, you can see it looks kind of crazy, right? It's like just take these lines off of your chart. But the thing is, if there's ever a gap down, if there's ever a gap up, the levels you use in the past could be the levels that could make you a lot of money, because sometimes you're just not aware of them, like in the present, right? Might take a lot of work for you to go back and find out what's the most important levels out of all these candles. So if I find a really good level, I'll just leave it on. And if I need to create a new chart, I'll just create a new drawing. So that's the reason why this level stayed there. And this was the reason why I was able to make 100% on put options today. All right. So zooming in, right, to the 4 hour chart. Honestly, I didn't really use the EMAs on the bigger time frame, because I didn't. Well, one, the price is so far away from my EMAs because the drop was so big. That's one reason I didn't need to use my EMAs. But really, the price dumped crazy, so that's already telling me it's a downtrend. I use the EMAs to help me know if we're in a downtrend or uptrend, and to also give me a key level that I could use the price as support or resistance. All right, so that's what I teach in my mastermind. It's nothing rocket science, but it's pretty simple, right? It's either above the line or it's below the line, and it tells you whether it's bearish or bullish. All right, so zooming into my 15-minute time frame. Now notice this is one big reason why I realized this orange line could be something, because this is before the market opened at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, right? I was definitely asleep. I'll tell you that. And the market pretty much stopped at this point, right? That is significant because we dropped from about 149 all the way down to 122. And if you imagine like a moving train, right? Imagine, before you imagine a moving train, imagine a car, like a regular, maybe a Toyota Camry. And imagine that car is moving at maybe 25 miles per hour. And imagine trying to stop that car. It'll be pretty hard to do as a human, right? But imagine that force and ability to stop it. Now, imagine a train, right? Imagine trying to stop a moving train. That's way harder to stop than a moving car. So usually with these drops that you see here, these are like cars, like 30 miles per hour. It's hard to stop it from moving, but when you compare it to a train that's moving full force, a lot of pressure with all this news coming in, that is for it's going to take a lot of force to stop that from moving down further. And this level is what acted as support to stop this moving train from moving down, which is what let me know that this was a very important level, and I could use this level as a high probability level for a trade. So this is what I kept on watch when the market open came. And if I zoom in, all right, we could see that this is my 9 EMA. This tells me market direction. Like I said, it's simple. If the price is above it, we're bullish. If we're below it, we're bearish. You can see we tried to be bullish in the morning at 9:30, and that's how they got you, right? Or some people. Um, if you was on the team, then you would know how to use the 9 EMAs. Hopefully, people studying. But there's a lot of tricks, and you can see that they try to trick the masses first thing in the morning by pushing this up. Notice we could not break this previous high. Well, we broke it, but we couldn't close past it, right? With this candle. And that gave me even more of a bearish signal, because if we were bullish, we would be able to close above it and potentially hold above it and trade up. But that wasn't the case. So if you're not going up, obviously, yeah, we could stay sideways, but with all the pressure and the downtrend, I'm seeing us going further down. So you could just say, hey, I'm gonna just grab some puts. I'm gonna play my opinion, but that's not what that's not who I am as a trader. Because I'm treating trading as a business, right? And when it comes to a business, you have to follow a certain procedure, right? And I have my procedure, which is called my strategies. Now, I don't just have one strategy, I have a few different ones. And in this particular case, I have strategies that I'll use if I don't want to deal with any bullshit, right? And I have strategies that is kind of like it has space for you to pretty much get tricked, that I would say. So you got to understand, like, some strategies are more bulletproof than others. And in this case, I didn't want to mess around. Even though I feel like the NVDA could come down, even though I'm seeing that it could come down, I'm like, I'm not trying to get caught up today. So I use my range breakout strategy, which my brother Dane, he's a master at, right? He was one of the ones that really honestly first understood the range breakout, and he came up with the acronym RBO, right? And that's what we use today. If you imagine what a range is, it's pretty much a low and a high, where the price stays in between until it's broken, right? So in this case, the range is, let me show you the range by drawing a circle. It is right here. That's the low. It's here. That's the high. So the price could pretty much bounce up and down in between this range all at once, right? There's a lot of chop that usually happens. So I try to avoid the chop. In my mind, what I'm thinking right now during this time is, I don't know which way the market could go. We could go up, we could go down. And during this time, I'm waiting for these option premiums to decay. So what does that mean? That means that at 9:30, maybe an option premium, right, might cost $2, right, at this 124 level at 9:30. But if the market stays at this same level, 124, let's say by 10:15, that option may not cost the same. It actually might have decayed from $2 down to maybe $1.50, $1.25, right? So that's a whole conversation for options. But that's what I'm waiting for, right? I'm being patient because I don't want to enter too early just to have the option premium decay on me without the price going anywhere. So long story short, I'm waiting for my range breakout pattern, and you can see we broke out in this area. Now we're gonna zoom in to the 5 minute chart so we got more details, and you can see the 9 EMA is a little bit different, but the price is still under, right, which is telling us bearish, right? So long story short, it was at this point right here, 11 o'clock, when we finally broke through this range. All right. And it was on this 11:05 candle where we entered. Right. So notice that's how much patience that I had to have dealing with this stock today. Um, I could have, and I did have the chance. I could have entered here, could have entered here, you know, and I could have made a lot more money, maybe 200, 300%. But my thing is following the procedure, following business, right? And when the signal came, I took the shot, right? What does that look like? So I'm gonna switch up my screen to go to the Discord and show you exactly where I called this trade out in Cam Trades. Let's see, this morning, this was our only trade. All right, you can see January 27th, 11:04. I actually called it out before 11:05. All right, so NVDA put um January 31st, that's this week, 109 strike, 86 cents. All right, so for less than $100, right, you could have bought one contract and hopped into this trade. And that's the benefit that options gives you, is that you don't need $1,000. You don't need a crazy amount of money. It's very affordable. And if you understand technical analysis, you can make a lot of money with a little bit of money. The most important part is risk management. So keep that in mind. But this was a trade where you could have got in for $86. And at 11:04 was when we called the entry. This was the picture. This is what it looked like when I took the screenshot for everybody. And even better, I have a free chat, right? So if you guys are tuning in, you guys could join the free community. And yeah, this is the sidelines chat. We got the team chat where I give a lot of my gems. We talk a lot about what's going on. Like I told you, hey, the VIX was the indication that the market was going to dump if you seen this on Friday. So you could have made a lot of money if you paying attention to these things. But this is the free chat where I don't share as much as my gems, but you still get some of my you get a lot of information actually. Um, and you could have actually got this trade for free today. So I actually called it out. 11:08 free play for the sidelines chat. I gave you guys the same exact thing. I was feeling good today, I guess, right? So called that out, and we're gonna go back to the chat where at 11:13 we was up 38%, right? That's the picture right there. We dropped from that 122 down to 120. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, we was up 104%. All right, bow. So it went down to 118, and NVIDIA later went down to 116 and some change. All right, so let me zoom back into the 5 minute and give you guys a recap of what happened. Pretty much, NVIDIA chopped around during the first half hour of the day and then decided to drop and started trending down. When it broke this range that we drew from this previous price action from the pre-market, we was able to grab some put options for $86, aka 86 cents for the premium, and we was able to make 100% on that. So that would pretty much look like $1.80, right? $1.80 per contract or more. And you have a couple people who was able to capitalize on this right? Just so you guys know, I'm not capping. We got a couple people in here. Let me see. We got um our brother Cisco copped like 10 contracts for $96. So he picked his own strike. And this is what I tell people. Pick your I teach you how to trade, like legitimately how to trade. So you don't need me to call out every little thing for you. So he was able to pick an even better strike, which would pay him more money. Pretty much had at least, I guess, for 10 contracts, you had about $1,000, a little bit less than that, and he made $300 just from he made 30%, 32% on this, and that was $300. All right. I think that was on the first call out. So if he kept some contracts on, then he's probably up more. And I don't know if he did, but this is his screenshot. You got Maria. She bought one contract and she was able to make $80 off of her $122 dollars. And let's see, my brother Hatesh, right? We got how many contracts? One contract for 595. So this is a 121 strike put that he bought, and a 121 put is way more expensive than a 109 strike put, right? Because it's closer to in the money, which means it's actually safer, right? So he paid a little bit more for safety, and he was able to make 28%, which gave him back $133 from his investment. All right, we got Brian. Brian is a shooter. He's our top trader, and he calls out a lot of amazing plays, and he was able to make 60% on a video. So people are eating, right? I'm actually eating some like real food right now too, some vegan food. Um, and that's what that's what I was doing before I started this live to make sure I have enough energy to talk to you guys. But here we are, talking about NVDA, and that was the trade from today. Now, why did I take profit? Why? When did I know to take profit? Right. One, you could see this huge move down. See how sharp, how fast that move is. Look at the volume. You got to understand when it comes down to options, volume is what affects how much your option is worth. So me seeing that this is super high volume, such a fast move, um, this is probably going to be at the peak of how much that option is going to cost, even if sometimes we go lower, right? Because even if we go lower, the volume could be lower, which means that the premium may not be as high as what you had before. So experience tells me, all right, you got that 100% on this fast move with high volume, great time to take profit. So that's why I called out, one reason why I call out take profit. Now, another reason is because the bigger time frame. If we look at this 4-hour chart, you could see that I see a demand zone. Now, this demand zone is from October, right? So, because I drew this demand zone, I expected the price to come down and hit this zone before expecting us to go back up. Now, we could have just dropped through this zone and, the puts would have made a lot of money, but this demand zone is pretty strong. So I wasn't trying to take that chance. And you could see from this chart, after we took profit, the price went pretty much close. It didn't go all the way back up to where we started, but it got close, right? So as fast as that move happened is as fast as it pretty much could have been taken away from you. And the price came right back down. And where did we stop at? We stopped right at that zone. All right. So I'm telling you, when you guys learn how to draw, right? These levels are gonna really help you make some money, and it's going to give you some good accuracy. All right. So that's what I'm teaching in my 6-week mastermind that we just started on Sunday. So you guys are going to see the results from these students, and they're gonna do really good. Right. And I know it because I'll make sure I take care of them, and we're gonna be doing some live trading this week as well. So this is what caused the market to push back up, right? And from this demand zone, we could potentially see some upside from NVIDIA tomorrow, right? Now, the cool thing about this is like, man, you got to think about it. Like, you caught the push to the downside, and if you know this is a demand zone, you could just grab calls and trade it to the upside, and you're so right, right? So remember, I told you about Brian. Brian is our number one trader, and you can see he has his own tab. And as the market was dumping, my brother Brian happened to grab some NVIDIA call options. So at 11:53, NVIDIA calls March 7th expiration date, 140 strike for $3.80. All right. So he should be sitting in profit right now. And if NVIDIA happens to continue pushing up in the morning, then, that will be a pretty good profit that he'll be seeing on that. All right. Now, that's that for NVIDIA. We could talk all about the bigger time frame and everything else. But the main thing that matters just as much as NVIDIA is the SPY, right? Because the SPY is what pretty much controls the direction of the overall market. So I know there's a lot of lines, but I want you guys to see something very interesting, right? The main thing that allowed me to be in this trade, sorry, not this trade, but to read the direction of the market is I'm going to show you guys something really quick. Let me go to the 4-hour. Bow. All right. So this trend line, I had this drawn since last year, which is pretty much just like a month ago, right? December. All right. Oh, we got Maria in the chat and Brian. What's good? All right. So Maria said she was just doing the homework that we have for the mentorship. All right. He said, "Yep, that's why you stood in after TP1." Yeah. So NVIDIA had a lot of juice on it. And so back to the SPY, this trend line was drawn because of this high. And I was able to connect it to other highs. You can see there, and you can see in this area, right? And what I did was, let's see, I'm gonna just remove this. If you have one trend line, you could simply duplicate it and then drag it, all right? And then connect the lows. So notice that these aren't perfect touches of the exact highs, right? The market isn't gonna make it that easy for you, all right? There is some squishiness that happens with these lines. You're gonna have to align it with the right exact levels, all right? So with this case, I was able to find a good level that made sense. And in this case, right around here. So you can see this is support. We did push through it, went up. Notice support. Let me zoom in. Use it as resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You could have made, I'm not even going to say, you could have made so much money, and there was plenty of times where the market even came down and I said, hey, we should be coming back up to test the trend line again. So this is just to show you that over the past almost 2 months now, does these two trend lines told you a lot about the overall market direction? And even today, right? How is that possible? Because if you understand this basic concepts of the market, where when a resistance level is broken, it the price is likely to come back down and hold it as support. That's trading 101. Hopefully everyone understands that. All right. And if you don't, you should be studying that before the next time you trade. Because it's basic trading. Now, this, like I said, is a resistance. Notice the market broke that resistance and broke out. And if you look at my pre-market live from Friday, you're gonna see when I explained how many times we gapped up, gapped up along this route, right? You don't see any gaps on the 4 hour, but if we go to the daily, each day gap up, each day gap up, gap up, gap up, gap up. How many times the market is gonna move up, right, in a row without any pullbacks? So you got to understand that what we're doing is we're analyzing the conditions of the market. We're not just looking at candles moving up and down, right? We're seeing how is it moving up and down, for how long is it moving up and down, right? It's the way that it does it that gives away the clues, right? Now, this is not healthy. All these gap ups, the speed that it moved up, the way that it did it, it's not healthy. What does that mean? A healthy trend means that we'll push up, pull back, push up, pull back. In this case, we didn't get no pullbacks, right? Very, very small one, which I wouldn't even consider a pullback, right? So, long story short, Friday, you could go back and see that I told everyone the market is very iffy. I'm not seeing us. I'm not seeing a true direction. But if there is, I really expect this to come down to 606, which is what happened that day on Friday. And I didn't anticipate this large of a drop, but based on everything that I was telling you guys, this drop was expected. Um, I did say we could come down to test this trend line as support, right? Why? Because it's trading 101. If a resistance is broken, the price should come back down to test it as support. So back to the 4 hour chart, you can see, even though you can't see that on a daily, right? The 4 hour is going to show you what happened pre-market and aftermarket. So that's why on the daily chart, you're not going to see this candle. All right. But this is exactly how pretty that's what played out. We broke this resistance and we came down to hold that support. From there, the market pushed up. So imagine, I'm not saying you would have caught this move to the downside, but imagine you just understood, hey, once we test this, we should move up. If you're playing futures, you could have caught this move before the market opened. If you're playing options, you wouldn't be able to do that because options is only open from once the market opens. All right. So to take a look at that move again, they gave you one touch and they gave you a double bottom, which confirmed that move and confirmed some upside into the morning. So this is playing towards what we could be seeing in the next few days, right? We could see some continuation to the upside, but at the same time, I'm not ruling out the downside. All right, because this is a funky market. It's in a weird mood, and they're not making it easy for most traders. Right now, what I do in these times, I try to stay away from swinging anything. Why? Because it's more psychological for me. I like to wake up in the morning fresh. I don't have any baggage from yesterday. I'm here today, and I don't care if we go up or down. I'm just using my strategy to trade the right move. And that's what we did today on NVIDIA. Took one trade, 100%, take your money and go, come back the next day, rinse and repeat, right? That's the perfect life of a day trader for me, not having to deal with any worries overnight. When the market is back to a nice trend where things are predictable, then I'll go back to swinging and we can make some money that way. All right. So take a look at the volume that reinforces some pressure to the upside. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot you can analyze with everything that I teach with the EMAs, the levels, the trend, the volume, the price action. But the biggest thing that's happening this week is the FOMC that's happening on Monday. All right. So usually with FOMC, that's where big moves like to happen. I bet I had just ate some food. So my stomach is like, yeah, it's ready. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. Wednesday, you can see FOMC is at 2 p.m. and then 2:30 Fed chair Powell has a press conference, right? Now, during this time, you could see a lot of ups and downs. And overall, I'm expecting a big move, right? So you could capitalize on that move by knowing what levels are important. And I'll say just don't overthink it, right? Sometimes you just got to wait things out. But also, don't be scared to just hop in like how Brian did today, right? Brian said, hey, I see that NVIDIA is still a good stock. It's one of the best stocks in the stock market. Yeah, we came down a lot, and while most people are fearful, I'm gonna be the one who's gonna go ahead and take a shot at this and expect it to go up. Now, I don't know all his reasons for why exactly he got in, but this was maybe one of the best entries that you could have taken today on NVIDIA based on the demand zone that we showed you earlier. All right. So with that said, I believe we got through all of my points. I just wanted to show you guys this NVIDIA trade, break it down for you guys, let you see this trend line on SPY and why we pretty much bounced from this level to the upside and what we could be expecting later on this week. All right. So appreciate you guys for coming on through. And if you guys want to pretty much stay in tune with everything that I have going on, you could hit the link in the bio and join the Discord for free. And what you will have access to one, the chat room. You'll have access to um, the trading the trading basics, right? So I teach you guys what I use for my trading, which is moving averages, trend lines, price action and volume. So you guys get to learn a lot about that. You'll get some of my resources. And then when you sign up for the trade alerts, which is $50 a month, then you'll get an entire Discord handbook, which is going to teach you all my strategies. It's going to teach you risk management, pretty much everything. So the book is worth way more than your first month of signing up. And if you cancel after that, at least you got a book which is going to save you months and years of trading. So of trading experience. All right. So tier 3 is live trading. So we're actually gonna be live trading tomorrow, and that's $99 for the entire month. All right. So imagine today, like I said, it was just $86 for the trade that we took on SPY. And you can see that in the day trade channel, which is right here. You got Cam day trades called out 86 cents. And that could have given you back 100% on your money. And that could have paid for your first, month. Not saying that, any of this stuff is guaranteed, right? We're all taking a risk, right? But this is just the results, right? And yeah, this is what I do. This is us as a team. We go into the team chat room. We talk about the market, what we're doing. I show you guys my watch list, which I actually forgot to tell you is what you get for free when you join, right? So tier one, you'll get access to my watch list, which is super valuable. And you can see I actually talked about NVIDIA at 10:04, even before I called out the trade. So, it's a lot of gems. All right. So if you guys are interested, the link is in the bio. And I'll see you guys in the Discord if you guys want to join. All right. So appreciate you for joining. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.